mal. No está tan mal.
Entonces, ¿por qué lo estarán criticando tanto? Que quieren que se vaya.
Siempre lo critican al güey.
Al Chepo, pero
Sí.
no, pero en
Pues
unos medios
ya ves
están,
que le
en
Ya
unos
ves que le
medios están
hicieron en la
diciendo,
selección, güey.
nah, güey, en la selección llevaba un año sin ganar después, ganó todo un año y
Sí,
luego
pero
después,
siempre lo criticaron.
y luego después duró como 7 meses sin ganar un partido, también no mames.
Va en sexto lugar ahorita.
Ujú. Digo que
Con
estaban criticándolo que
12,
por el esquema y que los
12
jugadores
puntos.
se sienten inconformes, que muchos jugadores se sienten inconformes con el Chepo y que no sé qué tanto
Okay,
pedo.
so stand by, chavos. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start streaming. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute you guys for one bit. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Eto Podcast. I am Joe Rodriguez, joined today, as always, by El Super Mojado, and then also by Edwin Cazares. El regreso, el retorno.
Ya llegó el que estaba ausente ahí.
What's up, fellas? ¿Cómo andas? Edwin, what's up, bro?
What's going on, man? Nothing. Had to come back and check on Super, see what he's up to.
¿Qué onda, Super
¿Estás vivo
Mojado?
todavía, güey? No te ha llevado la calaca.
Thankfully, not yet.
All right.
All right, guys.
La estrella de Atlético San Pancho regresa.
Lots of things to talk about today. And guys, you know what's crazy? We are in episode number 93. Can you guys believe that we are almost in our 100th episode of the Eto Podcast?
Wow.
Y aunque usted no lo cree, el Super Mojado has been there from the beginning. Edwin, you've been almost from the very beginning too. So a lot of excitement because we're gonna have to plan a very special show around this 100 episode that's coming up soon, man. I mean, I think like things just kind of like creep up really quick. But you know, we'll see. A ver si regalamos una ¿cómo se llama? Una cena con el Super Mojado. That's gonna be the grand prize. Yeah.
Los voy a
For
llevar aquí al...
every comment, we'll do a shot that day. No, I'm kidding.
A lo mejor. There you go. Now you're talking.
All right. So guys, lots of things to talk about today, and the first thing that I want to bring up is El Lobo Raul Jimenez, because man, that guy has been tearing it up for the last couple of years, and today Wolverhampton awarded him Footballer of the Year for the club. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about where he's going to be playing next year, but right now, from the looks of it, it appears as though he's going to be staying put. I personally think that's a good thing. But Edwin, let me start with you, dude. If he ends up staying in Wolverhampton, do you think that is a good thing, or is it a bad thing, and why?
I mean, you can look at it in two different perspectives. Either do you want to win a championship or fight for a championship and become a champion in Europe, which he did in Benfica, but he wasn't a starter, and try to look for a bigger club that will compete in champions, that will compete in EuroLeague, that will have different expectations. That's great, and you can prove. And if you prove that you level or you're good enough in that level, still pretty good. You can go and play in that team like Juventus, like Manchester United, like Chelsea. That's another other name that has come out. They say Atletico de Madrid might want him back again because Diego Costa is soon to leave the club. Um, also, I don't think staying in Wolves will be a bad thing. You keep breaking the record. The top scorer in Premier League for the Wolves. You retire there. You become a legend. And I mean, either way, it could be good for him. If you're looking for more money, to stay at the Wolves, you sign you renew your contract with a different clause, and I mean, it all depends.
What about you, Super
Well,
Mojado? What are you thinking?
well, I think that is well deserved. He was their best player, and el goleador. He broke the records. I think that he has reached all that he can get with the Wolves. I think it's time to move on. I think that he really has he has to consider other offers that come his way, because if he wants to reach for the stars, you gotta go big, man. You gotta go into a bigger club. You have to at least try, because if you wait any longer, he's not getting any younger. He's not a young kid,
But
he's not a 20, 21-year old that is just starting his career in Europe. He's already in his late 20s. He's reaching the 30s very fast. And so he has to take that opportunity. And now that he's on his prime, he has to give it all, and at least, like I said, at least try. And if he doesn't, if he doesn't turn out to be a starter, hey, at least he give it a shot, and not
but
just think like, oh, well, it would have been nice if I did try
super
for it.
super. But you also gotta consider one thing that yeah, he's 29 to be exact.
Yeah,
He will be
yeah.
30 next year. But what happens if that opportunity gets there and he gets proven that in maybe La Liga, Serie A, um, Bundesliga is not the type of soccer or the type of football, the type of soccer for him, for his style of play, and he ends up being on the bench. You also got to consider the Wolves basically plays for them, and you gotta take a look at the agent and the owner of the Wolves. Part of owner, it's Jorge Mendes, which is the agent of Cristiano Ronaldo and Raul Jimenez. He's the agent of most of the Portuguese players that are now in playing for the Wolves. What do you what do you makes you think that the Wolves are not gonna bring enough money to get those players that they need to be able to compete? I mean, this past season they ended up in seventh place, sixth
The,
or seventh place, if I'm not mistaken. That if you look at it, the only top three teams in Prem, they're competing for the championship. They were competing for the champions this year. It was Liverpool, it was Chelsea, and Manchester City.
Mm.
Manchester United was down, was competing for Euro spots and Champions spots most of the time. Well, Leicester City was competing for Champions League. Do you think the Wolves are not good enough to be able to compete for that? I mean, I'm just saying, if he stays there, it's not a bad thing. Also, you got to think about his family. He became a dad not too long ago, so that contract with more money has to come in consideration.
well, but do the Wolves have the money to make him stay? Do you think that they're gonna have the money to bring players like that? I mean,
I
and let's
mean,
consider now
they did.
the COVID, the pandemic, now that they every team is hurting. They need the money, man. And the best way to get money is to sell their bigger fish. Raul
Do
Jimenez is
you?
gonna bring them a lot of change, man, and they can bring a couple more players with
But
the money that they get from
But
Jimenez.
this is the thing.
And
This is the thing.
and
Raul Jimenez is not a player from. Is not a. Is not. It doesn't have a European passport. He can't just fit in any other club. So
yes,
either
but he
it's a club. Juventus is out of the picture now because they signed Makini from the U.S. So they don't have any other foreigner spots in the team. So now they're
yes.
going. They're saying they're going for Luis Suarez, which already has a European spot. You have to take that in consideration. That's what blocked Memo Ochoa to play for Schalke 04 a couple of years back.
Yes, but also you got to remember that he is a desirable player. He was one of the best players in the Premier League this past season. So I think that for sure he's gonna bring those offers. Those offers are gonna come, and I think that he really has to think. Listen, let's see who offers money for me.
So
If it's a Man U, it's a Man City, or one of those teams. Don't you think that he should take the thing? I would.
so
I
so
would try
if
it.
so if you're the owner of Manchester United, and I gave you the opportunity of signing either Raul Jimenez or Luis Suarez, which are costing the same money and they're only a year apart, which one would you sign? And
Well,
keep on consideration that Luis Suarez has a European passport and does not take away that spot that you needed to maybe bring a foreigner kid, the 21-year
okay,
old.
but now you're trying to like compare him to other players. No, no, no. Right? I
No, no,
think
no. I'm
what
not
I'm telling
comparing
you
him
is
to
that
other
the
players.
offers are gonna
I'm,
come.
I'm,
I believe me, the
I'm
offers are
not
gonna come.
I'm not
He
comparing
put
him to
his
any
name
other
up
players.
he put his name up on that list of the desired players. So many
I'm
teams are gonna come knocking on the Wolves door,
Yes, but also
and
we
it's
gotta
gonna
be
be up to the
realistic.
Wolves if the Wolves. Believe me, the Wolves they're trying to get the more money that they can get. If they
Yeah,
get
yeah,
I,
for
greedy, they
I,
sure.
I
might lose
agree.
on a
I
big
agree
No, for
with
big
sure.
look
person.
Wait,
look.
look.
Both of you guys make good points, but hold on, let me jump in there really quick, Edwin. I think money's probably going to end up what it's going to be what it boils down to because there was a lot of speculation about Juventus not wanting to pay over $100 million or whatever the asking price was for Raul Jimenez, and you do make a good point about Wolverhampton actually having a decent enough team to be able to compete. Now, on the other flip side, they'll be able to compete, but will they win? Will they win titles? That's like where I think
But
it's really difficult. It's a lot more
but
challenging for them to win the titles, right?
Now, yeah,
you gotta understand the project of you gotta understand the project of the Wolves. They're not just a team. They're winning. They're looking to win titles right now. If you know, five out of the six Portuguese players
Yeah.
they're playing in the Wolves are part of the squad. The Nations League with Portugal.
Right.
Is Joao Moutinho, Jota, Pedro Neto, all those players, Real Patricio. It's been a co-captain for the Portuguese national team for the longest time. Then again, we take in consideration Jorge Mendes, the biggest agent along Riaola, the manager of Chucky Lozano. Those two agents are the biggest agents with the biggest names in the world right now. He's the one that brought Joao Moutinho, that brought Raul Neves, that brought Raul Jimenez to the team, that brought Traore. Do you think he doesn't have the vision? Maybe not right now, but for the future, for him to compete. Why don't you just retire to be a legend on the team, become the highest top goal scorer in the Wolves, and ask for more money? Then you got your future set, you got your family set.
Yeah. I
I'm gonna
personally
but
give you
but
I
another
don't.
example.
let's not.
Oribe Peralta sacrifice didn't want to sacrifice his money to go to Espanyol de Barcelona. Why? Because he was already old. He said he was thinking more about his family than any
Oh,
other trophy.
okay.
Soccer
So
players are
so
not remembered for the
just to
trophies.
be
They're remembered for what they do.
just to be clear, then Edwin. So for you, it makes more sense for Jimenez to stay put, right?
If I mean, the Premier League said it accommodates more to his style of playing.
Right.
Why
No, I'm
don't you
just saying.
keep
I'm
breaking
talking about
records in the
specifically
Wolves?
at Wolverhampton.
Why don't you keep breaking the records at the Wolves? I
No, that's
mean,
what I'm
is there
saying.
anything
So I
bad
mean,
about that?
but just
But
I'm just confirming based off your opinion, it's probably the best thing for him to stay put at Wolverhampton, right?
Yeah, he's 29 years old.
Okay.
He's not gonna be a top record breaking at Juventus, at Manchester United, at
but now
Chelsea. He's not. He's scoring 27 goals. He's not on all competitions, not just in Premier League.
All right.
Uh, Kun Agüero scored 27 goals in just Premier League.
Right. But he's
but
also
now you're
surrounded by
forgetting
megastars
something.
too.
You're forgetting something. I don't think they're playing any European competition next year. This
No, they're
coming
not.
season, they're out of everything. So
Yeah.
the only thing you have is the Premier League. Why do you is I don't think that players really want that. They want the competitions, man. And Jimenez is not gonna get that with the Wolves. And now this might be his
So you're
only
saying playing
chance
against
that
Manchester
this
City,
might be
Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. Leicester City is not competition.
Yes, but what if a Liverpool, Manchester City, or Manchester United wants him? Don't you think any of those three teams would, want to have a player like Jimenez that they know that he plays good? Because
I
he
think they
plays
would
in the
want him,
local
but
league.
like he'll probably end up being relegated to the bench or a lot less playing
I
time.
was gonna say, then again, are you gonna bench Kun Agüero for Raul Jimenez?
Right. Yeah,
But
that's where I have a
the
problem too.
opportunity
Are you gonna?
might come.
I'm sorry. Are you gonna bench Marshall for Raul Jimenez or Rashford in Manchester
Listen, man,
United? Are you
all
gonna
I know is
Are you gonna bench Firmino? You gotta take that into consideration too. You gotta know where to go. If you're gonna be a key player for the team, then yes, they're gonna promise you to start the whole season. Then yes, but if you're gonna be relegated to the bench, why the hell are you gonna go?
Yeah.
listen, man. Well, that's what separates great players from just estrellas fugaces. All right,
sorry.
estrellas fugaces.
And
So
what
now,
Raul
if
Jimenez
you're
has
willing
been
to,
in-
if you're
what
willing to
does
go
Raul
into a
Jimenez
team
has
and
been?
fight for a spot, and if you think that you have the talent, you should go for it. Because no puede ser que se quede como un jugador mediocre, man. All right? They're gonna say, oh, fue la
But
estrella de los Wolves. In
this is
10
not
years, they're gonna
this
say,
is
who the
not
hell is
his
Wolves?
Super. This is not his first team in Europe. He played with Atletico de Madrid with an almost retired Niño Torres, and Niño Torres ended up finishing the season as a starter, right? Diego Costa was at Chelsea at the time. That's why they brought Raul Jimenez. He played for Benfica with Jonas, con Gabriel de Sousa. They ended up being back to Flamengo with Grimaldo. I mean, do you realize those players are not top players and they still won that spot over Jimenez? This is not his first rodeo in Europe.
Entonces,
So
what you're saying is Jimenez es un jugador del
team,
montón. Jimenez es un
no,
jugador del montón.
no, I'm not saying that. But if this is your team where you're a key important player for that team, then why the hell leave?
So,
Yeah.
but now, let me ask you a question. In your opinion, you think Jimenez has what it takes to compete against those players?
If I saw it, I mean,
Yes or
I
no
saw
question.
that-
It's a
I
yes
saw
or
that-
no question.
I saw that happening in Atletico de Madrid and Benfica, and he didn't compete.
So he's not. All right. So es un jugador del montón.
All right. So, saludos a José Maldonado. José Maldonado, he says, no tiene que ser conformista, que Raúl llegue hasta donde
Exacto.
tenga que llegar. That's what Maldonado is telling us. Saludos al chavo. But you know what? At the end of the day, dude, both of you guys make solid arguments. For me, I mean, I want him to play. That's what I want him to. I want to be able to watch him every single weekend. I hate looking at the box scores or at the starting lineups and seeing guys on the bench or not even on the bench. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. That's one of the reasons why I hate seeing so many Mexican players jumping to Europe and claiming that they're in Europe, but at the end of the day, they're just on the bench. They're riding the bench. That's the thing that drives me crazy. You know?
Por lo menos fue campeón de la Premier League, man. Fue campeón. Claro.
También Kiko Maqueda está jugando en segunda división en Italia.
Y el Kikín Fonseca también, ¿no?
Con Chicharito.
All right.
Anyway.
Si te conformas con ser una estrellita de un equipo de quinta, that's good.
Look, at the end of the day, we're here to talk about like him winning the trophy, and it's gonna be interesting to see what ends up happening because the Premier League season starts in about 2 weeks or so. So I think they extended the transfer window a little bit. So I think they're gonna be able to play because typically, Edwin, correct me if I'm wrong. Typically, the window closed before the kickoff of the season, right?
No, it closes in the second week of September.
Okay. So anyway, the point is that there's gonna be an opportunity for him to start the season with Wolves and then maybe end up in a different team. I personally did not like the idea of him going to Juventus. I think the Serie A is a very, very difficult league, and it's just not to his style. The Premier League is a good league for him. So if he stays at Wolves y la rompe, hey, by all means. But if he ends up going to Manchester United, I agree with Super. I think that he can go to any of these teams and he can make things happen. That's my opinion. But at the end of the day, like I said, the most important thing is for him to get his playing time. Anyway, let's switch up to different gears. Let's talk about Raul's former team, Las Águilas del América. They played last night against Mazatlán. FSA ended up getting a 3-1 victory. And guys, I want to really quickly ask you guys about your opinion with the way that El Piojo Herrera has been treating the team. So, Super Mojado, some people have criticized El Piojo a little bit because of the way that he's handled the team. What have you made of America's season so far? Now that they played 8 games so far.
Well, they're second place, man, and they're always on top. I mean, he has people. The America fans are some of the hardest fans out there, man. They're never pleased with anything. You know, they have a team that has been competing for the last few years. You know, I mean, a lot of years. They've been in the last championship they won in 2018. All right, so and they're the top the top winner team in Liga MX. And this coach has just changed the whole way of America, that America and any other coach in America has done. And I think he is, in my opinion, like one of the best coaches that America has had in history. And they just connected, man. El sabor que le pone El Piojo to this team is just, unreal. And he always managed to be on top, even when he's having a difficult season. He still managed to end up in the first 5 spots, dude. And to me that's impressive. He's very consistent, and that's something that not many coaches manage to do.
Yeah,
there's only a handful of them in Liga MX.
Edwin, they beat Mazatlán yesterday. It was a 3-1 victory over them. They struggled the last games. I believe they had a little 2-game skid, and then they won the last game. So now they're back on the winning sides. But again, I go back to the criticism. Is this just a bunch of BS from the people that are criticizing El Piojo?
Well, you gotta look at it this way to support Super's comment. Piojo Herrera just became yesterday with the victory the number 1 coach with most victories in history of America as a coach with 344. So if you ask me if he's the right coach for America, yes, because he feels that Americanismo in his blood. He's made that. He's that type of coach, es introvertido, that crazy coach the people like to see in the bench with their team, that's always connecting that energy to their players. Now, once you talk about the team in the specific, he even came out and said in an interview not a couple of days back that they're still feeling the loss of Guido Rodriguez in their midfield. Richard Sanchez has now stepped up to the game, even though he has scored a couple of goals during this season. They're still feeling that absence in the field. He's still moving his players around.
I think we lost you.
Bunch of bullshit. Then you can look at the statistics and tell me if Piojo Herrera is not the right coach for this team.
Well, I think that also, I think his problem, Joe, it's that he's been allowing a lot of goals. He's one of the teams that has allowed the most goals in this tournament. So I think that's why the fans don't really agree with the way they're playing right now. They defensively they're just horrible this season, despite that they're in second place.
Ojo, Super. America has always struggled with his defense.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's why the fans don't like that, dude. They don't like to
get a lot. Piojo Herrera, ever since he coached Monterrey, when he coached Atlante, when he coached Tecos, that's his style. He goes forward, he attacks. If they score 1, he scores 2. They score 2, he scores 3. That's the way he coaches. That's his style. People might not like that. There's people that criticize, like Tuca Ferretti, that he's a defensive coach, but it works for him.
Right.
So this is the style that works for Piojo Herrera. So
Yeah.
what means if some people don't like it, then oh well, that well, you know what, it is what it is. But he's given results at the end. America has been one of the few teams in Liga MX that for 5 consecutive years have been in the Liguilla.
Right. Right. No, you're right.
So,
I think.
mean,
No, you're right.
you asked me about the right coach. Yes.
No, yeah. I was asking more about like the criticism, and I think that a lot of people just kind of, it's el amarillismo, no? Like I think people just want to have something to talk about. A lot of the reporters and a lot of the media companies out there just, create this so-called chaos just because they want to create controversy of some sort. But look, again, I'm not an America fan, but consistently ever since Piojo took over, even in between, like his departure to the Mexican national team. I mean, the guy was like just doing his job, and like you said, like some people may not necessarily like the style, but at the end of the day, he's been delivering the results, and that says a lot, especially when you compare him to like their biggest rival, which is Chivas. I think that if you were to compare, like during the time that Piojo Herrera has been with America, how many coaches has Chivas had during that time? Super. How many?
All right,
like
man.
8, 10?
Don't throw, foul punches there, man.
No,
Low
it's gonna.
punches.
No, it's not even like that. I'm just thinking. But hey, anyway, let's talk about a little bit about the other team that is playing relatively well, or probably the best football in Liga MX, in my opinion, which is Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul, Edwin, we haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while about Cruz Azul, but I want you to tell me, what do you think is the biggest problem that Cruz Azul will have if they want to win, or that will get in their way of winning that title?
Just consistency.
All right, can you elaborate?
Consistency on the way they play. To me, Siboldi did the signing that Cruz Azul have needed last season. The Cruz Azul have needed ever since Ivan Marcone, the center mid from the now playing at Boca Juniors left, which is Luis Romo. Luis Romo, ex-player of Querétaro, it's a player that does not get all the cameras on him, does not get all those flashlights, does not get all the cute pictures. But he's a player that delivers. Last game that I got to watch, he had a 97% of completed passes in the midfield of Cruz Azul. To me, that's everything the Cruz Azul needed. With Cabecita Rodriguez and Santi Jimenez have become partners. It's incredible how Santi Jimenez moves in the field. He looks like a veteran playing as a 20-year-old. I mean, to me, just consistency. Cruz Azul just have to keep that consistency. It's a problem with Cruz Azul that they always start good, and at the end of the jornadas, at the end of the tournament, close to La Liguilla, the team falls down a bit, and then there's struggle. But I don't want to say this is their year, but if they keep the consistency of the way they've been playing, we could have them or see them as champion at the end of the season. Because remember, they started this Guardianes tournament, this Guardianes MX, the way they finished last season,
right,
in La Jornada 7.
Right. And right now that you mentioned Cabecita Rodriguez, I've been telling Super for the last couple of weeks that to me, Cabecita Rodriguez is the best player in Liga MX. What do you think of that statement?
Well, no. I mean, it's the player that's scoring goals for Cruz Azul. It's this player that's doing the right movements in the offense for Cruz Azul to score. But as the best player in Liga MX, I still think Cabecita is here and Gignac all the way over here.
Ahí está, Joe. 2-1. Perdiste, güey.
I'm sorry, but you gotta look at the technique. To compare player against players, you gotta look at the technique, the way they play, their consistency. Cabecita Rodriguez has only had a couple of good tournaments. One of them with Santos.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm talking about this season. I'm talking about this season. You know, I'm not talking about like if we're talking about like as a
Still
whole,
no.
who's been a better player. I think that of course Gignac is gonna be the one that's gonna. There's nobody above Gignac in the last maybe 5, 6, 7 seasons, right? I'm talking about
So even
specifically
this
this
season.
season. Yeah, even in this season.
Cómetela, güey. You
No
said
sea,
it yourself.
I mean, I'm saying.
no sean ya saben que el par. Anyway, so
I
well,
mean, you admitted it. I
to
didn't have
me,
to say it. It was you.
no, I'm talking about. I'm not including this season, obviously. In this season, I still think that Cabecita's the better player. So anyway, that's my opinion, and that's final. But anyway, all right. So
What
Super
it
Mojado.
is that just real quick, I think is that the way that Cruz Azul has been doing things,
Yeah,
it gives them that a little extra to put him up there, to put him in that radar, and Tigres has just been inconsistent, in the past few tournaments.
right.
It's just been like ups and downs from
You
Tigres.
know, you know, Tigres. There is this a standing like a chart that came out maybe like 2 days ago where it says Tigres without Gignac would have not won two of the championships that they won in the past seasons, because on those two tournaments Gignac scored 50% of the goals for the team.
And not only that, but Gignac has been in 4 out of the 5 championships that they have won.
Well,
So
that's what I said.
you said 2, but
No, I
anyway.
said that they won two. If without him, they would have won two of the four that they played.
Oh, okay.
Right. All right. Anyhow, so the reality is though is that right now Cruz Azul is playing lights out. Again, first place, and America's tied with them with points because of their victory yesterday. So technically, even with one game less, they're still up by 3 points, or they're still tied in points, I should say. And I think that it's going to be it would be heartbreaking, but very realistic for a Cruz Azuleada to take place. Uh, what do you think? I mean, it's really difficult to even ask this question because at the end of the day, I think the Cruz Azul fans are already used to the disappointment. But if they don't win another title, let's assume that they basically end up playing the way that they're playing. They end up taking the first place and all that stuff. But another title, another lack of a title. I mean, what do they need to do, or what needs to happen? You know what I mean? Again, I'm having a really tough time asking this question because
So
obviously I'm not a mind reader, but I'm just saying
solo
like, what the hell? I mean,
solo una cosa, Joe, that they need to do,
what's that?
and es jugar la final con blanquillos. That's all they need, because they have everything else. Just se apagan, como que it's like a stage fright,
Okay,
Once they reach that level, it's like they're just like se
I
les
mean,
olvida el fútbol.
maybe it
I
might
mean,
help
if you
them.
think if you think the fans of Cruz Azul are tired, imagine the ones from Atlas.
Oh, but I mean, Cruz Azul has been a lot closer.
Yeah,
I mean, at least.
they're no, yeah, and they have like a bigger budget, and
Right,
it's like
right,
it's just not no comparison with
right.
between the two of them.
Hey, right now that you were talking about the fans, one other thing that came out today was that Liga MX is contemplating on bringing back the fans to the stadiums in October. So again, I was thinking this right now before we got to this topic, that if Cruz Azul plays without fans, maybe they might have a better chance, right? But if the fans end up coming back, then they're gonna have the pressures of the fans one more time. So it may be counterproductive for them. But anyway, going back to that specific topic, Super Mojado, what do you make of that? Are you for the fans coming back, knowing what we know about COVID-19 in Mexico?
I mean, it's a tough call, man. I think that now we are seeing that every league, every sport, it's trying to do this. They're pushing for this, and it's almost like I don't know if it's just because they're just trying to they're tired. They just want to they go back to normal, have some type of hope. But it could backfire on them, if people start coming in there and then they're asymptomatic and then they're around. I don't care how much you say that they're gonna be 6 feet apart. They're still gonna be crossing paths, and you got people that they don't listen to like the restrictions. They're gonna go in there and they're just thinking that they can do whatever they want in there. Nobody can tell them anything. But you know how some people are just entitled like that, and it's like it's hard to keep track of people, and it could backfire on them. Like I said, it's a tough decision. We want to go back to normal, but until in my opinion, until things get like a little more clearer in the scientific way, that there is a cure or there is a vaccine, I think it's just a risk that you're gonna take, and it could end up backfire.
What do you think, Edwin?
Oh, listen, I think we are trying to, how can I say this? We're trying to like live what Mexico is having with COVID from here. We're trying to see it with the eyes from here. We're listening to all the news and all that stuff. It's reporting. I got the opportunity to go down to Monterrey, actually visit the facilities of Tigres. Once again, thank you to Licenciada Garcia. Hola, Licenciada Garcia. Gracias for having me there. I got the opportunity because I'm being getting my professional coaching license, and the protocols that they're having with their kids in the U20s and the U17s, the protocols they're having at the stores, at the grocery stores, the protocols they're having at the aduanas. I'm gonna tell you this right now: they are treating this better than it's being treated here in the U.S. I think Mexico will be prepared, but then also we can't really just talk about Mexico in this, because US also, it's giving that green light for fans to start buying tickets again, to be able to be at the games. Europe's doing it too. I think the whole world is now acting up to it instead of just waiting for something to happen. I mean, we have to get back to our lives. No matter how hard it is, things will have to get back to normal on one point or another. Either if we wait for that vaccine, for that shot, what's gonna happen? Our economy could go down. That's a whole other thing. But we have to get, little by little, we have to get back things to normal. And if it has to be 6 feet apart between two seats empty and one with the fan and stuff like that, then it has to. I mean, it will be. We can't really do anything about it. We just have to accommodate to what the Liga MX and the president of the Federación Mexicana de Football would tell us to do.
Yeah, and it's not just going to be the up to Liga MX. It's also up to like the health secretary and down in Mexico. They're the ones that ultimately are going to make the decision and recommendation for that to move forward or not. But I think you make a good point about us on this side of the country, right, or this side of the border, I should say, that we really don't know what's going on in Mexico for the most part, right? You got an opportunity to go down to Monterrey and the facility.
Yeah.
But the thing is, how is everything else being handled in the rest of the country? I mean, I'm not there, but I know a lot of people, and I communicate with a lot of people down, at least in Guadalajara. And the reality is that a lot of those places out there, people are scared. People are still, very concerned. But the problem is that, as you mentioned, the economy, unlike here, people down there are not getting the type of help that they get here. There's no unemployment help. There's no financial help. So people have to work. And that's why it's a big predicament, and it puts them in a really tough spot, meaning people that don't have a lot of financial means, they have to go to work, And the truth of the matter is that COVID-19 is still a reality. There's still no cure out there. So a lot of people could still get infected. A lot of people could still die. And honestly, at the end of the day, to me, this is the way that I see it. if no fans go back to the stadiums, the only people that are losing money are the owners, right? Because the players are still going to get paid. There could be repercussions. They could ask them to take a pay cut like how they did with MLS, right? But at the end of the day, it's people that have a lot of money that are going to lose the money, the most money, right? But if for the sake of bringing, 20 fans or whatever the number is that they decide to bring into the stadium just to make a couple of bucks, to me, it doesn't make sense. I don't know what you think, Super Mojado.
No, like I said, it's gonna be, and again, it's gonna be up to the people too. If you think that, whatever, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna risk it, that is up to you,
Sure.
And it's like I said, the league is trying. Yeah, they're losing money, so they're gonna try the best they can. Probably gonna take like we were saying, that all the precautions that they need to. But at the end of the day, it's up to the fans. If you feel that you want to just risk it, you don't care, you just want to get back to your regular life and go to a stadium where there is a chance of you getting sick, then it's on you. That's fine. Like, everyone is gonna make their own choices, and you're gonna get people that are gonna go, and you get people that they don't feel safe, and they're gonna stay home.
That's fair. That's a fair point. You mentioned MLS a little earlier, Edwin, and in MLS, certainly, I'm sorry, USL, but also here in the States, MLS, they have allowed some fans to go into their stadiums, except for the teams that play in California. So San Jose, LAFC, LA Galaxy, because of the California mandate there, they have not allowed any fans to go into the stadiums. As it is, it's really difficult right now for even the press to attend the stadiums. For example, for us, we've only been able to send one person to cover the games, when typically if we were two or even up to three people, sometimes they gave us the opportunity to get inside of the stadiums. But now what ends up happening is that they want to make sure that, they're very restrictive, and the least amount of people are at the stadium. I think they just want to cover their asses, They want to make sure that nobody gets infected while covering the games. So I think that's also the thinking behind that as well, right? Like, they don't want the fans to be like, oh, hey, guess what? I went to the games and I got sick because I went to the game, unless they're making everybody sign a waiver. I'm not sure what's going on there. You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny because MLS is doing just that. USL is treating it a different way. But then now, like me, that I'm playing USL 2 here in San Antonio, Texas, they're allowed one fan per player or per staff. So there's 42 players. There's let's say 36 players on the field, plus the staff, which is like usually 5 to 6 coaches, right? So that's already like 46 to 50 people inside the field, and they're outside in the fans. There are about 60 people watching the games.
And but that's what you usually get, right? And
it's
Stay away.
But I'm just saying it's funny how people are treating it differently.
But what do you mean by differently? Like, how exactly are they treating it? Are they
like I guess the organization of USL and MLS, which are two different organizations, because none of them are affiliated to the U.S. Federal National.
Well, they do have, like, for example, like Galaxy and a couple of Portland. They do have teams that are affiliated. I don't know if with USL too.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, how they both are treating with fans differently. Okay. Like how they're allowing fans differently in a different way.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. But I think, for example, like in all of California, whether you're USL 1, 2, MLS, or even friendlies or any sporting event for that matter, they're not allowing any fans in, but that's because the California government is the one that's creating that mandate. So it's up to the California government to decide, hey, you know what? Nobody's attending an event. So that's why I brought up the example of like the way that we're covering the games, right? So we've been able to send just one person to cover the games versus like, the typical 2 or 3 people that were able to go into the games. Also keep in mind that a lot of the people that are attending the events as reporters or photographers or what have you are also sitting in the stands. So typically, like you had a line of reporters or photographers like all crunched up together with literally elbow room, right? now everybody obviously has to be like 6 feet apart or whatever that is, and spread throughout the the venue. So as people start coming back into the game, so where are you going to put these reporters? Where are you going to put the photographers and so forth? Right? So are you going to send them back to be like squeezed like chickens, or are you going to also like create like a much bigger space? So that's why it's making it really challenging for everybody to even go and cover the games, right? And let alone like have what is it, like 10, 20,000 fans enter the games. Like going back to LAFC and I'm sorry, to the MLS. LAFC and the Galaxy play again this week in another edition of El Tráfico, and those matches have been the hottest ticket in MLS. So I'm sure that again both teams are thinking, man, like we could have made a killing at having guaranteed sellouts at both stadiums, right? But now because of both of those teams are in California, there's no fans allowed whatsoever. So anyhow, that's just a crazy scenario. That's the reality that we live in right now. And that being said, I want to dive into that matchup. Edwin, did you get a chance to see Efrain Alvarez score his first MLS career goal yesterday?
No.
Crickets. All right. Did you, Super?
Well, ¿cuál dijiste? El de
Al Efrain
Atlanta?
Alvarez.
No,
LA
no,
Galaxy.
the
No,
LAS,
poof.
no, ese no lo vi. I saw the one,
You-
the Atlanta versus Inter Miami, but
You guys are making
But,
me. You guys are making
asleep.
me look back. Kansas City.
no,
Pulido ni jugó.
Dude,
Pulido took the day
there's
off.
just so much soccer going on right now that it's
Eh,
hard to keep up with everything.
And I forgot I'm asking Ed when he doesn't like MLS, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, wrong subject.
But hey, no,
Sorry.
but hold on one second, dude. I know that he may not like MLS, but I know that he watches MLS. He's like a closet MLS watcher
hell
because
no.
he's got to be a closet. So you're telling me, Edwin, that you don't watch not a single game, even when there's Mexican players involved in those?
No, sir.
¿Tú le crees, Super Mojado? I don't buy it.
The only times I've watched an MLS team play, it was when LAFC play against Leon.
You know what? He doesn't like U.S. soccer, but he's playing in U.S. soccer. What's going
They
on
pay-
with that?
They pay good, brother. They pay good, so
Anyway, all right. So
as any player from Argentina, if they like it, they'll probably tell you the same thing. They'll tell you they pay good.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're paying your bills, right? If they're giving you a paycheck,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You could be playing. You could be playing in the Chinese Super League, right? Just ask all those Oscar
Yeah,
and
just
all those
ask
other
Oscar.
players. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give an example. Oscar said they interviewed him and asked him why he didn't continue his career in Chelsea, and he was like, I don't care about if people talk about me. I care about the money.
Of
It's
course.
like he's like, with the money, if I retire right now, it has to pass like 7 generations for my family to work ever again.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And the Chinese Super
So-
League was paying a lot of money to players, but at the end of the day, you're right. But you know what? If you were to compare the Chinese Super League or MLS, which one would you pick?
Chinese Super League has better players.
Do you think the Chinese Super League is a better league?
Because they pay more.
Listen, man, MLS, you see, it's gonna be a top league in no time.
Cuando el Super ya esté viejito. Bueno, eso. So no, never mind. Not in the next 2 years. No. Has to pass more.
So wait, so you don't think what's a timeline that you think, Super Mojado? Like, give me an actual legit timeline or what you think that the MLS is probably gonna become like one of the top leagues that you say, like 5 years, 10 years, 20. Are you really gonna be a viejo like Edwin's saying?
I believe that in 10 years, this league is gonna be definitely a top league, man.
But what does the
And,
top league mean? Top league
it's-
where
but it's
in the Americas? Top league in North
league
America?
in the world?
Of course.
No.
It's gonna le va a pasar la Liga MX in no time, man.
Well, I mean, is
Así es,
Liga
la Liga
MX?
La Liga
la-
MX está estancada.
La Liga
They're
MX
in
la pasa hasta
denial.
la Liga de Ecuador.
Oh, well, come on, dude. No seas
La
payaso.
Malinche, güey. La
Exportan,
Malinche.
exportan más jugadores a Europa. Es la verdad.
And that's what makes it a better league. Come on, dude.
I mean,
No, right? Are you
¿De
are
dónde
you?
sacaste a este güey, yo? ¿Quién le abrió la puerta a este güey?
Por eso estaba en la cueva el canijo.
Por eso juega en la
no,
división
no, no.
la
No,
quinta
no te
división de
creas.
acá.
No te creas. No, I mean, but MLS, it's going to take time for MLS. It's going to take more than 10 years for MLS to be a top league in America. I'm not saying in the world, because you have to take a consideration that they're never going to play champions. They were never going to play EuroLeague. They have to be stuck with CONCACAF. And at the end of the day, that's their. Es la región en la que nos tocó jugar.
Right.
Is in MLS and Liga MX. But also remember, a young player from Europe, if you give him the opportunity to play CONCACAF or Champions League, which one do you think he's going to choose?
Right. But hold on, hear me out. One thing that I saw yesterday is that they actually there was a ruling in favor of allowing competitive matches to take place in the United States from European leagues. So
they try to do it. They already tried to do it.
No, I know that. Yeah, exactly. So
they didn't allow it.
Exactly. And the ruling just happened a few days ago, where a judge actually is going to allow for that to take place. So what they were doing is that they were blocking for La Liga official games to take place here in the United States. But now that's going to happen. So here's what I think. I think that the way that MLS is going to grow is that if they start playing in more competitive tournaments, so they got to play first of all, they got to win La Conca Champions, and they still haven't, right? That's one. Two, they have to be able to compete against the South American teams, the Sao Paulos, Boca Juniors, and if they can beat those teams, then we can start thinking about, okay, maybe they're one of the better teams here in the Americas, right? But then once you get an official like club World Cup type thing where you might send an MLS team or two and they compete, or maybe even get towards the end of those tournaments, then that's when we can start thinking about that. But in the meantime, it's really hard to speculate because that's all it is, dude.
You know who's blocking those Liga MX games? Those La Liga play games in the US? Es la Asociación de Jugadores en Europa. Remember, there's an actual Players Association, a group that's against all that stuff.
Because they don't want to fly, dude. They don't want to travel.
Sergio Ramos was one of the players that came out and said, "Well, we'll not travel all the way over there to play one game and then have to travel again on a Thursday to be able to play
what a weenie, dude. That's such a weenie thing to say, man. Like the NFL does it, the NBA does it,
Once again, they're NFL, NBA, they're not a worldwide sport.
What do you mean they're not? Well, okay, the NFL, yes, but the NBA, dude, the NBA is a worldwide sport, man.
And I'm sorry, is NFL important in Europe? Is NFL important in South America? Is NFL important in Asia?
No, but the NBA is
important. You say important or
popular?
Did you say importing or important?
Whatever it says, then it doesn't matter.
No.
They're not relevant over there.
Okay, the NFL is not, but the NFL plays games in London every year. And every time that they play those games, 60, 70, 80,000 people. Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people
once again, is there an actual league in Europe in England that has to do something with the NFL? Is there an actual league?
Yeah,
is there a whole world federation that has to do?
No.
NFL is part of it.
No, of course not.
It's not a worldwide sport.
No, but the NBA is though.
That's irrelevant because what they're trying to do is bring a match from their league over here, and there's not a league from Europe here. It's just a game that they're trying to bring. Well,
right. They're trying to make it an official game.
It won't happen. The players will not travel.
Well, if they come to an agreement and they pay him enough, believe me,
it's gonna happen, dude. That's for sure gonna happen because at the end of the day, dude, it's all about the dollars, and as long as it makes dollars, it's gonna make sense. That's just the bottom line. And not only that, but look, here's the way that it works, right? I don't know like how if they have like collective bargaining agreements in Europe, right? And I'm sure that you said they have the Players Association, but here when they do the player collective bargaining agreements, one of the things that is actually talked about or make sure that it's included in these agreements is trips like that, right? So they do the rotation where every single year a new team has to go out there to Europe to play, and that's for the NBA and for the NFL, right? Anytime they play these games, because think about this: if you're from LA and you have to go all the way to London, now you're talking about 8 to 10 hour flight, right? So that's brutal. But if you're talking about flying from here, from the East Coast to Europe, or from Europe right here to the East Coast, dude, that's like a 5-hour flight. It's the same thing as flying from LA to New York. It's not that bad. So, like for Sergio Ramos to be saying, like, we're not going to go to... Come on, dude. That's like such a silly thing for him to say, man. And it's only going to benefit those teams and those leagues at the end of the day.
And going back, I mean, we kind of got off subject, but going back to la MLS...
It's all your fault, Super.
Going back to that, esta liga, let's remember that está teniendo más inversionistas. More people are investing in this league. Now when you got a player like Beckham coming and creating a team here, believe me, that's gonna happen more often now. People are gonna try to come here and invest, create a team, and because there's a market here, and they see that this soccer is really starting to become very popular in this place and competitive. Now that they're bringing players from South America, like como el chavo del LAFC,
Brian Rodriguez
over here,
Brian Rodriguez,
the top scorer right now.
Brian Rodriguez.
Rossi.
Oh, Diego Rossi.
Thank you. Rossi, mira, este chavo, believe me, in the next 2 years, I think that he's making a jump. Now that Vela is not.
They already done it, man. A couple of players have already done it.
Look. I'm not saying they won't make that jump, but you got to look at this way. To the money and the lifestyle that they had in South America, to the money and the lifestyle they're gonna get here in the U.S. Of course, kids are now gonna start looking at that money over here in the U.S. Not all of them are going to be great starts because not all of them work. And that's what happens in that Liga MX too. But to MLS, for MLS to be able to become a top league in the world, they have to have nothing but players, phenomenal players in their young squads. There's a lot of teams in Europe that they're debuting 5 to 6 players per season, and out of those 5 to 6 players, four of them are top players in their team. This is the reason why you see a lot of foreigners in England, yes, but then now you also are seeing a lot of players from England rising and starting to immigrate and to start playing in different leagues.
Right.
And so MLS needs to have that, and MLS right now they're focusing more on their marketing.
Yeah.
And to be able to be noticeable over there, how many players does an MLS team actual debuts a season?
Yeah.
And how many actual players are regular?
Right.
That's the thing that we don't see.
Right.
We have to. MLS has to focus more instead of that marketing. Instead of putting all that money out there to get that name out there, they have to focus more in their players.
Yeah.
Now US to be relevant in the world, they're looking at kids that were born in a U.S. military base in England, in Poland, in Germany.
Yeah, but those kids are staying out there in Europe. So a lot of those kids end up staying in Europe.
And those are players. That's what I'm saying. Those are kids that were made in Europe and are gonna stay in Europe. Right. The only reason why they're playing for the U.S. is because they were born in a U.S. military base. Right. They're not players that were brought up from, like, let's say Real Salt Lake youth squad all the way to the first team, and then at 20 years old they were sold to let's say
wherever. Yeah, no, I get it. But
McKinney did.
But hold on, Edwin.
One of those things.
Hold on, Edwin. So really quick, we're running out of time here. But before we wrap up here, I want you to think about this also, because I think Super Mojado did make an actual interesting point. If they were to offer, for example, like they did with Beckham, to Messi or Ronaldo, the opportunity to own an MLS team, do you think those players will come and play at MLS or in MLS? You don't think they would?
No, man.
Oh, man, I think they would in a heartbeat, dude. They would be stupid now, too. And that's the reason why Beckham did it, you know?
Why? How many great players did Beckham was able to get for his starting season? 100 brand new players. Okay, it's the first season. It's the season when you have to make an impact, right? You have to get the names. You have to sell tickets.
Well, I think
the only
Pizarro
player he was able to bring right now is Matuidi.
I think that right now, due to this, pandemic, a lot of things happened.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Slow down this.
The machine.
Sorry, but the project from
machine.
Beckham has been since last year already into the making for the MLS. They were signing players from last year.
No,
and then the pandemic hadn't happened just before.
Yeah.
Right. The pandemic was not here in November. So if you're telling me the players will come in a heartbeat, then why did Beckham not do it? Why his starting player was Rodolfo Pizarro?
No, well, I mean, because I don't think they were offering them enough money, though. I think that's the problem, too. I think it came down to money because think about this. Think about how much money they invested already just in the stadium, right, in the team itself. I think, I don't know how much money they ended up paying for the fee because I know he got it like a discounted rate or something like that. But
this is the thing, like yes, you invest in money, but why not invest in a player too that will bring you fans, that will bring you tickets, that will sell you shirts, right? So why not do it since the beginning? And why your franchise player, the first franchise player was Rodolfo Pizarro, a 26-year-old kid that's inconsistent.
Ya vienen. Ya viene Falcao. Mira, he's selling shirts already.
Look, hey. Look, they're saying Falcao, they're saying Luis Suarez.
Then they just say Higuain.
They're saying all these names, but none of them are official. The only that's official, it's Matuidi. And Matuidi's already 34 years old, and he said he's only going to play 2 years and retire.
I don't even count him. All right, guys. Well, we've come to an end of another...
Este güey nunca va a estar a favor de la MLS. Ya, ¿qué tanto le haces de tos?
Well, we come to another conclusion of the Eto Podcast. Ahí está Edwin y el Super Mojado. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. And we want to remind those of you guys, make sure you tune in this Monday. We have a very special guest. On behalf of Super Mojado, Edwin Cazares, I am Joe Rodriguez. Go and watch, a ver, contra quién van ahorita, el Pachuca, ¿no? Tu equipo, Edwin.
El Toluca lo están goleando.
Mira, puro tuzo, papá.
¿Y quién va? Pachuca contra San Luis. All right. So on behalf of these two gentlemen, I am Joe Rodriguez. Thank you very much for joining us. Till next time, take care of each other and yourselves. So long.